Hello, this is the Flutter and Windows presentation for Hack Ohio. Really quickly, who am I? I'm Alex. I work at Microsoft and I moved to Seattle from Brazil in 2017. I help developers be successful on the Windows platform. That's what I do here. Very quickly, what is Flutter? Flutter is Google's UI toolkit for building beautiful natively compiled applications for mobile, the web, desktop, and embedded devices from a single code base. It is a very fast, expressive, and flexible UI framework based in Dart. And one of the very best things about Flutter is that it's cross-platform from the beginning. So with that one code base, you can deploy your application for Android, iOS, Mac OS, simple website, and even for Windows. One of the best things about Flutter, it's the community. The very first tip that I have for you is join the Discord channel if you have any questions. The community there is definitely going to be able to help you out. So this is how a simple Flutter application looks like. You're simply gonna run a simple command line and it's gonna build your application. And on Windows, that's how it's gonna look like. And you can interact with it. And even within Visual Studio Code, you can change your code. You can change during the execution of your software. We have a thing called hot reload and hot restart, which greatly improve your productivity within that platform. Very first things again, how do I use Flutter, right? So to build for Windows, you need to be on Windows. You cannot be on a Mac OS. That is a hard requirement for every single platform. If you're building for Mac OS, you need to be on a Mac OS. The website is flutter.dev, very easy to remember. And let's quickly go through the steps and requirements that you have for building your application, not running, but actually building your application. So you need to be on a Windows 7 64-bit. You need 64-bit. You need Git installed. Pretty much every developer nowadays has Git, so nothing too complicated here. You also need VS 2019, and that is one of the tricky things. It's not just the VS 2019, the shell and everything that you have from just installing VS, but you actually have to pick the desktop development with C++. And why do you need that? Well, the thing is, when you build a Flutter application, you're actually building a native project for every platform that you're deploying to. So when you build your Flutter application for Android, you're actually generating an Android application in Java that is actually compiled, Java or Dart, that is compiled to a native application on Android. When you're building an iOS application, it's Objective-C. It's a completely different project that is generated as an output from your shared code. When you're building for Windows, it's actually a native Win32 C++ project, and it actually uses Visual Studio 2019's build system, MS Build, to actually build everything for you. You don't have to know all that. From a developer perspective, you're just running a command line and it just builds everything, but that's why you need VS 2019 with the C++ desktop development workload. And how do you develop for Flutter? Well, you use VS Code. It's one of the most famous IDEs out there for developing websites and very fully featured applications in many different languages, such as React Native and Flutter as well. And all you have to do is install the Flutter extension from VS Code's gallery. So it's very straightforward and very simple. One extra step that you definitely have to do, at least today, with Flutter 2.5, is that you have to call this just once. It's not per project. It's literally per installation of Flutter and Flutter developer machine. You have to enable Windows desktop development. All the desktop platforms for Flutter are under this flag that you have to actually enable. Well, but enough slides. Let's actually go to a demo. So just quickly here at the website, whenever you actually go to the Flutter website to download Flutter, you download a zip file, and from that zip file, you actually have to extract it. So pretty much all you have to do is have those files from that zip within a path. I recommend putting it somewhere at the very beginning of your drive so you don't have a very long path, and make sure to put C Flutter bin, the bin folder of your extracted folder, a zip file within Windows path. But all you have to do really is just follow the steps. The documentation on their website is pretty simple and straightforward. So pretty much just download the zip file, update your path, and you should be good to go. Now that we want to actually create our project, I have another folder here, which is just C demos. And as you can see, there's nothing inside it, but I can simply create a new Flutter application by using the Flutter command line. And there's a Flutter create, and then you pass the name of your project that you want. Be careful because you can't use any name. You cannot have capital letters. So use underscore if you want to split things up. So once you actually run this command, it's actually going to create not only the Windows project, it's actually going to create a shared project for Android, iOS, the web, and everything else. It's also going to do this Flutter pub get, which is actually restoring your dependencies. So if I go to this folder and list the files, you'll see that I have an Android, iOS, lib, which is actually where your Dart files are, a test folder for your tests if you have any, a web project, and a Windows project. So let's actually just use VS Code and do a code dot to actually open this within VS Code. And as you can see, we have here an Android head, we have an iOS head, and we have a Windows head. We don't have to worry about those at all now. All you have to look at is the lib main.dart. This is where all your code is. This is where your app is going to be created. Of course, you can create separate files and import them, just like we're importing here the material design from Flutter, which is coming from a package that Flutter provides. But this is where your application is actually going to be written. So as you can see, we here have a material application from the material Dart package. We're giving it a tile, and the theme is with the primary swatch of blue. In the home, it's creating another class, and this could have been in a different file, but here it's just a different page with a tile Flutter demo homepage. So let's just change this to my cool hack project. And if I save this file and I come back to the command line, I can run this from the command line with a simple flutter run minus the Windows. Flutter run is the actual command, minus the Windows is that I want it to run on the device. That's what the D stands for. I want to run it on Windows. So one way is just to run the command line. Another is just to press F5 within VS. And you see that here we have Windows x64, and this is what is actually going to be the device that we actually want to deploy our application. So once the build is complete, it's going to run our application. And since I've already installed the Flutter extension for VS Code, I'll have the fully integrated development environment within VS Code. And it might take a few minutes to actually build for the first time. But once it's running, you'll see that I have here the Michael Hack project already running, and I have the widget inspector where I can look at things. I can actually select this select mode, and when I click on something, I actually see how it's being laid out. So it's a very powerful developer environment that we have. And of course, I can change something and I don't have to recompile from the start. So if I change this my cool hack project to something else, let's just say my hack project, and I just saved the file and pressed Alt-Tab, it instantaneously changed. So it's very quickly and very easy for us to do changes within our code and actually see how it actually is going to be. And now that you actually have your project up and running, all you have to do is hack your project away. Good luck with your hack, and see you next time.